Welcome back to This Day in Scottish History. I'm your host, Colin MacDonald. Today we set our sights on March 27th, 1871, a date that echoes with cheers, mud, and national pride. On this day, the world's first official international rugby union match took place in the heart of Edinburgh at Raeburn Place. Scotland hosted their old enemy, England, and in front of thousands of eager spectators, made history by not just playing the game, but by winning it. This wasn't just a game of rugby, it was a cultural milestone, a spark that lit one of the fiercest and most enduring rivalries in the sporting world, and a day when the Scottish Thistle stood proud. Let's rewind the clock. By the 1860s, rugby was rapidly growing in popularity throughout Britain. However, the rules were still evolving, and the sport itself was fragmented. Clubs played by different codes, and disputes over how the game should be played often led to confusion, and occasionally chaos. Yet amidst this developing game, the seeds of international competition were being sown. The catalyst came in December 1870, when a letter appeared in the Times newspaper from a group of Scottish rugby players challenging their English counterparts to a match. The letter was bold and uncompromising, and the English accepted. But this wasn't just about sport. It was about pride, identity, and proving that Scotland could compete with and beat her larger southern neighbour. So on that cold Monday afternoon, 20 players per side took to the pitch at Raeburn Place in Edinburgh, under a grey sky, and before an enthusiastic crowd estimated to be around 4,000 strong. There were no grandstands, no microphones, no match officials with earpieces, just two sides, a leather ball, and the hopes of two nations hanging in the balance. The Scottish team wore dark blue jerseys, which would later inspire the iconic national strip, while the English were clad in white. It was a bruising, gritty match, much more like the rugby of old, a hybrid of football, wrestling, and all-out warfare. The rules resembled those of rugby union as we know it today, but with key differences. Matches were played in two 50-minute halves, tries did not directly award points, and scoring was based on goals. From the start, Scotland showed their intent. They played with grit, determination, and an unmatched desire to make the most of their home advantage. England had the size and organisation, but the Scots had the fire, and they used it. The match was physical, chaotic, and thrilling. The Scots scored a try early in the game, which led to a successful conversion kick, giving them a goal. Later, England equalised, but as the second half wore on, Scotland struck again. A second goal proved decisive, and the final whistle blew with Scotland victorious. 1 goal and 1 try to England's 1 goal. It might not sound like a high-scoring affair by today's standards, but make no mistake, this was a mighty triumph. The aftermath was electric. Scotland had made their mark on the sporting map. Newspapers hailed the match as a grand success, and rugby fever began to spread. The victory wasn't just about sport. It was about self-respect, unity, and the assertion of national character. The rivalry sparked that day has never died. Each year since, save for the interruptions of war, Scotland and England have met in what's now the oldest fixture in international rugby. Today, they compete for the Calcutta Cup, a trophy rich in tradition, but that very first match at Raeburn Place will always hold a unique place in the heart of Scottish sport. As rugby grew in popularity, so too did Scotland's role in shaping it. The Scottish Rugby Union was founded just 2 years later, in 1873, and Raeburn Place became hallowed ground, the birthplace of international rugby. Thank you for joining me today on This Day in Scottish History. Whether you're a rugby fanatic or just a lover of remarkable moments from the past, I hope today's story stirred a bit of national pride. Be sure to check out my blog at bagtownclans.com/thisday for more tales from Scotland's rich and raucous history. Until next time, I'm Colin MacDonald. Haste you back.